Welcome back to the Boss Too Hard podcast. I'm Laurel Ordonez, your host, and we are here at the beautiful Hi Hello Labs in Orlando, Florida. Today, we are going to talk about something that I really had no idea that I needed to talk about. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she was explaining to me how she had made the hard decision to cancel an event that she had been planning with 3 other creators. And this is a beautiful event they have every year that multiple people go to, a very high-end event. And what she explained to me was, she's like, when we made the decision to cancel, it was a full body yes for all of us. And so when she said full body yes, I immediately knew exactly what that felt like. And I also had to take a step back and realize that I hadn't felt a full body yes in a very long time. And so today we are going to talk about how embracing flexibility, alignment, and progress is going to help us thrive in all areas of our life, including our businesses. So I remember when I left my VP role to start Queenly Consulting, it wasn't because I wanted to be a millionaire. It wasn't because I had some amazing idea that was going to be on Shark Tank. What I was seeking was flexibility. I didn't want to be tied to a desk from 9 to 5. I wanted to be able to work on the evenings, work on the weekends if I needed to, so that I could show up for my kids when I needed to. I could take a random beach day, with my husband. I was looking for flexibility while being able to just simply maintain my income. And I was even willing to take a pay cut at that point, right? Um, but the reality is I was seeking this because flexibility is the ultimate freedom. Being able to make a choice to make moves in our business and our lives and our relationships from a place of I decide is extremely powerful. And you don't realize how powerful that decision making freedom is until you don't have it. And so for me, the flexibility, it like I said, it really transcended beyond just time. And it was about aligning my day with my values and my priorities. And so when I was working as a VP, my my alignment from where and my prioritizations were all out of whack. I wasn't going to the gym like I should. I, was working at my kids' games instead of enjoying them, and, you know, skipping date nights to work, different things like that, that it was not who I wanted to be or the life I wanted to live. But what I realized in the last few months is that that girl that left her role, and this self self-proclaimed success, this financial stability, that girl that left that role and I was trying so hard not to be anymore, I was right back where I started. Not only was I negotiating with my son whether or not I would be attending all 4 of his games that he had that week. And I know if you're not a sports mom, you don't get it. But if you have a baseball tournament, you've got 4 games and you're basically at the baseball park all day, But I would tell him, like, well, I'll go to your games on Sunday, but not on Saturday because, I have work to do. There was one night where I really wanted to cancel a date night with my husband because I needed to work, or I felt like I needed to work, or that there was things that just had to get done. And so I am in a season of realignment because I have got back to a space that I did not want to be in any longer. And so right now it's looking like prioritizing weekends with the kids again, date nights with my husband, intentional conversations throughout the week, throughout the day, just not being so busy that I can't tell him thank you or that I think he's handsome, because I do. I love my husband. Um, he's sexiest man on earth. Totally my opinion. I don't care what anybody else thinks. But um, I had let go of my health again. I sit here today 30 pounds heavier than I want to be, but it's no one's fault but my own because I wasn't prioritizing myself. I've been skipping the gym. I was doing pull-ups today, and where there was a 55-pound assist, I'm above a 100-pound assist. I've lost strength, and I didn't realize how far I had let things go until I had that moment of realization that there hadn't been a full body yes in my life in so long, and I need to make a shift. And so I had to redefine this flexibility, redefine what things were looking like in my life. And so the best way I can put it is that I've had to realize that flexibility isn't about doing it all, because you can't do it all the time. It's about doing what matters most. And if you're building a business right now, if you are in a busy season, if you're feeling stretched thin, there are seasons where your business is the most important thing, but it's okay to have seasons where your marriage is the most important thing, that your family is the most important thing, that your kids need you, that you have a family member, an aging parent, a best friend that needs you. And so flexibility is about what, sorry, let me fix that there. Flexibility is about doing what matters most when it matters. And so think about it. If you're listening, I want you to think about what matters most to you right now, and what are your priorities looking like. Flexibility doesn't come without having to realize that you wear many hats. So for me, the hats that I wear is I wear the hat of CEO in my business, Quinley Consulting. I wear the hat of fractional CMO in a government consulting firm. I am a mom to 3 boys, and I am a wife to a husband. And those roles are all very, very important to me. But it can feel really, really exhausting, because as you take on and off those hats of the different roles that you wear, it's hard to switch back and forth. For some people, for me, it can be really hard. I wear that CEO, that CMO hat so well that sometimes I'm like, oh, it's a little hard to shift back into mom mode. And a lot of times I find myself operating very much so in the masculine in those roles, right? Very leadership, very leadership driven, very direct. Um, and being in those mom and wife roles require me to really slip back down, back into that feminine space. And so embracing all of these aspects of my identity is really important. And it's not just embracing them as individual roles, but embracing how they really bring alignment and feed into one another in a really beautiful way. And so my strength as a leader really teaches me resilience as a mom. My nurturing aspect, that divine feminine that I slip into as a mom and a wife, really enhances who I am as a leader. If you ask anybody, I'm not a black and white, this is how it is, this is how it's got it done type of leader. I want my team members, wherever I'm at, whoever I'm working with, I want them to grow. I want them to see the best in themselves. I want them to realize that there is a whole lot of opportunity for them, just not just here, but everywhere. And it's never just about business for me. Business is such a small aspect of our lives that I really make it a point for the people that I'm working with. I get to know them on a personal level as well. It helps people feel seen. And so just as I want my kids to feel seen and important, I want my team members and the people I work with to feel that way too. And so I can't really embrace one role without embracing the other, because they make me who I am in totality. And so the reality is we don't have to choose who we are. We don't have to choose between our roles, and it can be very fluid and how we shift in and out of them once we own how they make each one better. And so a lot of times you'll be asked, well, which role is most fulfilling to you? But it's going to differ. It's going to look different in every season based on what the need is in that season and knowing that you can prioritize what matters most. And so owning these roles, owning these different hats, it doesn't come easy. And a lot of times there are certain things that you're going to have to let go of. You're going to have to understand that that's tomorrow's problem and that's okay. If you're like me and you like to make lists and you like to check them off as they get done and you find a lot of um sense of it's fulfillment is not necessarily the word I'm looking for. It's like that sense of completion, that whatever, you can understand what I'm getting at. But that sense of I got shit done today, right? When you get to check things off your list and you get to the end of your day and you haven't checked all the things off, that sucks sometimes. And I absolutely hate it. My husband says my superpower is being able to work nonstop with no breaks. I don't know how healthy of a superpower that is, but it really falls in line with that need to get all the boxes checked off. And so one of the things I've really been focusing on was that it's okay for something to wait until tomorrow. Not everything has to get done and not everything is urgent. I will tell you, there was a season, it's not a season that's very long ago, that I was consuming a ton of caffeine. And I really think that played into that feeling, those feelings of anxiety that everything had to get done, that there was not enough time in the day, that in order to be successful in one area, I had to give up something in another. And there are trade-offs. But I tell you what, when I gave my mind an opportunity to slow down and made a decision to stop striving and look at my goals and readjust my goals, I started to live in the gain and not the gap. And it wasn't about what I didn't get done, but look at everything that I accomplished today. And that goes into feeding into a sense of gratefulness, just being grateful for your capacity and what you were able to get done and what you were able to get done with quality, and knowing that there is tomorrow and you can work on things tomorrow. I think it was 3 episodes ago, I talked about perfection and being a recovering perfectionist. I think that trying to be perfect in all those roles really keeps you from seeing progress. And that's where that gap and that gain comes into play. And there's a book called The Gap and the Gain, and you should read it because it really lends a lot of insight into this. But the key thing that you need to remember is that progress, no matter where it is, whether it's with your kids, with your spouse, with your business, progress is still progress no matter how much it is. It may not look like the end result that you wanted it to, but when you compare it to the beginning, you're so much further than where you started. And so I'm really dedicated in this season to letting go of perfectionism and celebrating the small wins. And not just in business, it's been a huge weight lifted off my shoulders to let go of some of those perfectionism, that sense of perfectionism, and to focus on some of the small wins that we've had. You know, when I look at where we wanted to be from a revenue perspective, I'm not where we wanted to be, but we definitely are further than we were the year before, and with more team members, and with, higher labor costs and investment into more marketing. When I take a look at it, am I where I set my goals? No, but we had a hell of a year. And so being willing to take a step back and look at the big picture has been huge. but I think I've found it even more valuable in my relationships. I I don't think that I've been as transparent as I could about this, and the the journey, the entrepreneurial journey, being authentic and being transparent is so important. And I know I'm not alone and I when I say this, but being a high performing, achievement driven woman, one of the hardest, when I tell you the hardest relationships to maintain has been with my husband. Because I do operate in that masculine so often that it's hard for me to come out of that. And when I'm in that space, I am hypercritical of myself, of others, and it's not great. And the past year, marriage has been hard and raising kids has been hard. When I tell you that I have a 16-year-old who has been wiling out, he has been wiling out. And I remember, I mean, it was a couple weeks ago I came into the podcast studio and I had gotten a call as I'm going in to film, a couple episodes here, that he had been arrested. And I'm just all the things that you could think of could be happening personally have been happening. And the person that I needed to lean on the most, who's my husband, I'd been hypercritical of and not seeing how he was trying hard to be there for me. You know, if you're a woman and you're listening, most of our husbands do not love to cook. And that's usually, the wife's job. I know in my house, it's my job to cook dinner, and I love to cook dinner. I love to cook dinner for my family. But there are nights when my husband would say, "Oh, I know you've had a busy day," right? I should have felt seen when he said, I know you've had a busy day. And then he proceeds to say, "I'm going to get pizza for dinner." And instead of just saying, okay, he's going to get pizza for dinner, and seeing that he was trying to be helpful, I was just focused on the fact that I'm trying to lose weight. I don't want to eat pizza, and he's not being helpful. When the reality is, this girl, just eat the damn pizza. Like, and be grateful and see the progress and allow yourself to be seen. Um, and so in all these things that were happening and not being appreciative and being hypercritical and really operating in my ego, right? That I have plans. I want to do big things. I have goals. I have things that I'm working on. And almost feeling like my family and my relationships were simply a byproduct of being successful. My world came crashing down when my husband and I had a huge fight. It was an argument, but it was a big enough argument where he said he packed his bags and he left. And in that moment, my heart was broken. Now, he only left for a day, right? We needed to cool off and we came back. But in that moment, I had to realize like the progress that I'm seeking is not the healthy progress that I'm needing. A lot of times we seek out things because we think we should and not realize the impact that they're having on our families and the people around us. And in that moment, when I had to think about why my husband decided to walk out the door because he was that pissed at me, I wholeheartedly knew that I was out of alignment. And I knew I was out of alignment. And I'm grateful enough that I have some really good friends that will be super honest with me when I ask them to. Because as women, we can have conversations and sometimes it's like, I just need to vent. And I just need you to listen. I don't need any advice. I just need to vent. But then there's those times where it's like, hey, I'm in this really sloppy, crazy, stupid situation that I don't want to be in. And I need your advice. And I'm really grateful that I have people in my life who are, it just so happens most of my friends are about 10 years older than I am, which sucks because it's like they've been in their businesses longer. So it makes striving for success feel a little bit different because I know it's possible. I can see in front of me what's possible. But what's great is that when I talk to them, they can say, "Hey, I've been in your shoes." And I had a good friend tell me we had a couple drinks and we were talking and she showed up just to listen and she knew that I needed her. And she's like, "Hey, how old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 36." And she's like, "You know what? I remember being in your shoes. I remember being where you're at, and I remember being in this space in business. And what I need to tell you is that you're operating in your ego. From an outside perspective and someone who's been here before you, your husband is trying and you're being too critical. You've got these high expectations for yourself and you're putting those high expectations on everyone else. And you've got to make a shift. You've got to redefine what success looks like. Maybe not forever, but not in this season." And I was like, "You're right. You're right." And she told me what I needed to hear. And I was grateful for the conversation. And so I had to take a look at what does it look like to win in this season? In a season where I've worked really hard to get here. We've had some lows in the business, but we're coming out of them. We have a plan. But my life is so much more than the business. And I have allowed so much of it, what I feel, it's out of control. So what does it look like to bring things back into alignment and find joy in my business again and find joy in my family, prioritize time with my husband, love my kids well. I have a 17-year-old who will be turning 18 soon in January, and he is enlisting. He's decided to forego college, which I'm totally cool with. And he's going to enlist full time in the Army. Our family's about to look really different. And so most of the time I talk about business here, but personally, what does it look like for me to win as a woman in 2025? And I had to do some deep thinking and I had to dive in and dig into some really gross parts and really hold myself to a high level of accountability and call myself out on my own shit. Because a lot of people around you, especially if you're running a business, they're paid to do what you tell them to do. And very few of them are in a space that they will call you out when you are out of alignment, when you're not operating in your best space as your best self. And so what does winning look like for me in 2025 as I continue this entrepreneurial journey and as I reprioritize my health, my wellness, my husband, my children, my spirituality? And so as a mom, it looks like being present and nurturing. And being present doesn't mean like you have to be on the couch with your kids all the time. Be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's school? What's up? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to do that?" No, it's about being there when it matters the most. For me, it's driving the teenagers. High school here starts at 7 a.m. They have to get on a bus at 6:02. Nobody wants to be on a bus at 6 o'clock in the morning or waiting for a bus at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's getting up and driving those boys to school in the morning and having time to have conversations and not having the music play in the car. So we are connecting in the morning. For my little one, um, he loves to watch movies together. And so I've implemented every other movie. It's a Military Appreciation Day at Amstar. And so if you don't know that in your military, it's $5 for movie tickets. Check it out. But every other movie, taking my little one to a movie because he loves it. $5 movie, $5 popcorn, bam, $20. And we have just had the night of our lives. And we'll do things he'll probably remember forever, right? And then as a wife, I think owning a business that my husband and I don't run together, it often feels like we are working on separate goals. And so I'll have goals for my business and things like that, but it's like, what are our goals as a family? What are some things that we're working on together? And all the experts will say that building partnership through shared goals is one of the most powerful ways to build intimacy and security and stability in a relationship. And so I had conversation with my husband and I apologized, and was really just, hey, like I took some really strong accountability for just simply being an asshole. Like I told him, I'm like, I have not been my best self. And I have not been showing up for you the way you've been showing up for me. And I've not been giving you credit for the way you've been showing up for me. And so we talked, and he's the type of guy, he's like, anything you want to do, I'll do it. And so I came to the table with some ideas because that's who I am, right? I'm always a step ahead, always planning. And he's like, yeah, he's like, let's do X, Y, and Z. And it feels really good to be working towards some shared goals together. And it's brought us really close, a lot closer as husband and wife. And it's put us in a really healthy space. Um, as a business owner, what winning looks like is inspiring the people around me, leading from a really authentic, healthy space, and creating positive change. Positive change through the Business Growth Bootcamp, positive change through the nonprofits that we're working with, through the small businesses that we're working with, and positive change through my team members, giving them opportunities to grow and to develop and to foster that entrepreneurial spirit that I know lives in each of them. And we're even going to bring on an intern. This is the first time I'm announcing it publicly, but we are going to bring on an intern just to manage the podcast. They're going to own it from start to finish, and they're going to be able to create one hell of a case study for whatever it is for that next season in life for them. And then as a woman, just honoring my individuality and my dreams, knowing that, I can love the woman I was 3 years ago. I can love the woman I am today, and I can absolutely love the woman that I'm becoming. And knowing that I'm going to shift and I'm going to change and I'm going to evolve, and I'm going to give myself permission to evolve, but I'm going to do it from a space of an alignment, and I'm going to do it from a space of that full body yes, because there's been a lot of full body yes in the last few weeks, and it feels so good. And so what I want you to remember today is that balancing all of these roles, your business, your relationships, your kids, all of these things, it's not about perfection. It's about the alignment, and only you know what's going to align with you. Set your intentions, have a vision for your life, have a vision for your business. If you're operating right now in life and in business without a vision, I want you to download our vision guide. It's a 3-step process that we walk you through to craft a vision. And then if you're a business owner, we also give you free access to a few of the modules in the Business Growth Bootcamp that are going to help you walk through that vision, that mission, your offers, things like that. And so it's a beautiful free resource to get you started on what it looks like to live a life by design and not by default. And then just make sure that as you're walking through this process, that you're checking in with yourself, that you are celebrating the progress and you're celebrating the wins, because I can't stress. There will be times in your business where there will be instability, that there will be ups, that there will be downs, there will be great growth. Not all growth is needed growth, and not all growth is in the right direction. So having an established vision for what you want your life to look like in and out of your business, it's going to help you stay grounded and know what you're doing and why you're doing it and when you're doing it, right? Um, so set some weekly intentions that align with this vision. Make sure that your tasks are aligning with your energy patterns. Prioritizing myself as a woman, being in the gym. I know I'm not an early morning gym girl. I will wake up, I will work at 6 a.m. You will not find me at the gym at 6 a.m. So that means I work out in the afternoon. That's my energy pattern, and I'm going to respect that. If you are owning your own business and you feel like you've got to work a 9 to 5 still, you are making the rules. If you are finding yourself with more energy, more creative flow, more inspiration in the evenings, work in the evenings. Respect what your body is asking for. And then last, of course, I think I've said this a few times, but I can't drive home the point more. Reflect on the wins and stop dwelling on your shortcomings. Progress is progress is progress, no matter how you've come. No matter how far you've come. You're doing amazing, and you have to remember that. And so, second piece here, if you haven't downloaded our positive affirmations guide and you need a little help bringing that vision home, that's a great place to start too. And so, if you're listening today and you've resonated with any of this story, um, let us know in the comments. I know that there are other women who are walking through this. They're feeling these same feelings in their business, and they need to know that they're not alone. And so every time you share your story, you empower someone else that they can get through the hard season that they're in. As always, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Boss Too Hard podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I'll see you next week.